Hi, I'm Tom Wales, Deputy Director of Analysis at Oxford Analytica, here with my co-Deputy Director of Analysis, Sarah Michaels, to discuss political risk in Russia this week. Sarah, we've seen unprecedented demonstrations in Russia in the wake of, or unprecedented anyway, at any rate under Putin, in the wake of last week's parliamentary elections. Can you shed some light on client concerns about political risk in Russia? Is the worry among clients that have investments in Russia that Russia's risk profile is rising rapidly justified?
It is, but not necessarily for the reasons that you pointed out. It's absolutely correct that risk perceptions are rising, and rising justifiably, not necessarily because of the protests. As extraordinary as they were, the real thing to watch for now is fissures within the elite, possible indications of fracturing, and most notably the presidential run of Mikhail Prokhorov, the third wealthiest man in Russia, head of Gold, among other concerns.
Well, North American clients will better know Prokhorov is the owner of the New Jersey Nets, who occasionally likes to sit in on practices and is a very visible figure courtside. But he's also running for president now, and the suspicion among many of our clients is that this is just potentially another Kremlin straw man candidate, very much like the pseudo-candidates we've seen in the past, who have essentially endorsed Putin while running against him. Yes. Is Prokhorov that kind of straw man or no?
Well, he's not, but I will say that I understand why that perception is there. And it's not simply because the Kremlin has done this sort of thing in the past. I mean, it was just a few months ago, back in May, when Prokhorov, entirely with the Kremlin's support, set up an ostensibly liberal pro-business party to contest the parliamentary elections. That imploded for a number of reasons and led to quite an acrimonious falling out between Prokhorov and Putin's chief strategist, Vladislav Surkov. That party is now off the radar screen, and Prokhorov is off script. The presidential bid was not planned in advance by the Kremlin, and so it's not fair to say that Prokhorov really represents the political opposition. He is, after all, absolutely integral to the Russian business elite. But he's definitely running against Putin as opposed to in support of him tacitly.
Yep, the marionette has cut his strings. Let's talk about how political risk may feed into economic risk in Russia. Is there a danger that the Kremlin could decide to try and buy off this discontented group by, say, increasing social welfare spending in a manner that's increasingly unsustainable?
Well, there's already been a huge increase in social welfare spending, and particularly for serving members of the military as well as veterans. So this concern is valid. The real problem for Putin is that he's not going to be able to buy off the middle class. And these are people in their 20s and 30s. These are people who are educated, who have traveled a great deal, really quite sophisticated and quite cynical in their politics. And this cadre formed the core of the protests that we saw in Moscow and that we're very likely to see again out in force at the end of the month. These people can't be bought off. They're looking for a more functional state, a state that adheres to the rule of law, at least to a greater degree than it does now, and where they can conduct normal business operations. So what Putin could try to do if he can't buy these people off is to shore up support among the core United Russia party members and supporters. And some of them are pensioners, some of them, like I said, are military or civil servants. And these are the people who have already been the beneficiaries of the increases in entitlement spending. So Putin could try to do this to a greater degree than he's already done, yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We've talked about rising political risk problems in Russia, slower growth in Brazil, and I hope you've seen some of our recent Daily Brief coverage talking about the property market, growing property market woes in China and banking problems there. Some of the bricks, right after the 10th anniversary of their creation by Jim O'Neill of Goldman Sachs, are looking a bit less solid. Thanks very much.